Welcome to another episode of the Space Force mascot Moonicles. Today, the Red Wave's last train and the playing field of the Conductor. Diary entry from 24th October 2020. The air was mild, and the blue half-hunter moon traveled with Aquarius, when a field of fallen soldiers and 3 unknown women were raised to the ranks of warriors. This event was marked in the sky with an X, and the higher currents inside Earth interlinked, and I almost took the train when the conductor said, "No." I looked behind me to see if he was talking to me, and when I turned back, he was gone. I stood puzzled, and I watched the people board the last train of the day, and, still puzzling, I watched it go into the night. After I had stood like this for a while, I found myself the only one left at the station, and I noticed that the billboards were blank and the clocks had stopped at 7:30. And out of the blue came a sharp gust, like a sword cutting through the silence, and it caused the water maple trees on the other side of the tracks to release their leaves for the final dance. And the air was filled with the celebration of the red wave. Overwhelmed by this glorious presentation of the star-shaped dancers, free falling in the wind and shooting down the tracks like little children running home for their favorite food, Silver's song came to my mind, and I wanted to know where the last train had gone. And out of the red leaves came the biggest and most beautiful horse I have ever seen, faster than the 7 winds, bolder than the 7 seas, and stronger than the 7 mountains, with colors I can't describe, and a horn. And I noticed that her wings were missing, and I asked her, "Where are your wings?" She shook her mane and snorted loudly. "There is no space for wings where you want to go." And she raised her forehand off the ground like a Lipizzaner stud, and she showed 3 perfect leaps only seen in the Spanish High Court riding school. And there I saw Silver's song had 8 legs, and her hoofs were shining bright like diamonds, and when they came thundering down on the asphalt, I saw that they were Anvils. "Wow," I said, and she agreed, "Yes, I know how to make an impression." And she executed the most perfect capriole of all times. Naturally amazed, I clapped my hands, and I was looking forward to my next mission as first Space Force mascot. Again, a sharp gust of wind swept all the leaves up in the air, and the red wave covered the half-moon light, and all the stars turned into ravens, and they disappeared from the sky. And in one leap of the goat, we arrived at the end of the last train. there it was dark, and the air felt thick and heavy, and naked trees filled with ravens formed an alley with many ends ahead, and I saw them in the light of Silver Song's diamond anvils. I left my high seat and jumped down onto swampy ground, and when I looked up, the conductor stood before me, and his voice sounded damped when he said, "You are late." "Excuse me?" Silver Song snorted loudly and shook her mane, and I said, "No, I am right on time." "Are you now? Right on time for what?" Well, I said, "that's a very good question." And to distract from the fact that I had no idea what I was doing, I changed the subject and asked, pointing in the direction of the alley with many ends, "Where did the people go?" "They didn't," he answered. "This field is a dead end." "Where are they now?" I wanted to know, and he said, "Behind you." I turned around, and there I saw a stage illuminated by floodlight, and on it I saw a king and the ghost of a king, and a queen without stockings, and a pale-faced prince in a fencing duel with the son of the old fool. And I saw the one they plotted to kill was the one that found out who murdered his father. And here the wine was poisoned, and the queen went down. And the tip of the rapier was poisoned, and all screamed, "Treason! Treason!" And in the end, everybody was poisoned, or stabbed, or both. And the stage was stained with wine and blood, and this sight was the field. "I told you," said the conductor, and twisted his eyebrow. And I disagreed. No. I pointed at the stage, and there the floodlight went out, and in the light of Silver Song's diamond anvil hooves, the ghost of the king and his son, the pale-faced prince, rose from the carnage, and arm in arm they walked off the stage, and through swampy ground towards the alley with many ends, and there, inspired by the whisper of the ravens, they found another way. As they were disappearing from sight, the bloody murder scene they left behind was slowly fading away. And the conductor wanted to know, "Where did you see that coming from?" Silver Song shook her mane and snorted loudly, and I said, "You thought I would be late, but it appears I was ahead of time." I stretched my arm out like a horse trainer holding a long whip, and Silver Song was happy to demonstrate her world-famous skills of all time. And she executed the courbette and the capriole even more perfect than on asphalt. And when she finally landed, the muddy waters cleared, and the swamp dried up, and the leaves returned to the trees, and the ravens flew into the sky, and they became stars. And the conductor was impressed by their light, and he told me, "I'm impressed. You came to my field, and you saw it, and now my field is gone." I was very happy to hear that there were no hard feelings, and I said, "Thank you." And Silver's song took off high above ground, and here she executed the most perfect capriccio yet. And when her anvils came thundering down, they sent out sparks so bright that I had to cover my eyes. And when I looked up again, I saw that she had wings. "Bravo, bravo!" I cheered and clapped my hands in celebration. And the conductor clapped his hands very slowly. And in a supervillain voice he said, "To be late or not to be, that is the time." I found his performance of the classics very impressive. And I told him, "Very impressive." And still playing the supervillain, he said, "Thank you." And I asked him, "What other lines do you know?" We took a stroll in the light of the blue half-hunter moon down Water Maple Tree Alley, and he told me all his lines. And his voice became softer, and after he finished speaking, a sharp headwind caused one leaf to fall before his feet. And he picked it up and said, "Take this as a promise of what is to come." I took the red star-shaped token, and before leaving, the conductor asked me to let you know that the end is the beginning. Thank you for listening. See you next time.